Ashton.
And we're from Ivy Leaf Farms. In collaboration with Communities for Better Health and the Acres Homes Farm and Market and the Sowing Seed Community Garden, we're doing a food advocacy project to show what it's like to go to the grocery store in Acres Homes. We'll be visiting 3 grocery stores near and around the neighborhood to discover the best choices. We'll be judging them on the following criteria. You might be wondering why a project like this is so important. Acres Homes is about 10 miles northwest of downtown Houston, but when you drive through this community, you might not think you're in the city. The historic neighborhood, once considered to be the South's largest unincorporated African-American community, is a unique mix of rural and urban. Acres Homes was developed during World War I and got its name because land there was sold by the acre instead of by the lot. The land was cheap and offered rural settlers plenty of room for their chickens, horses, and gardens. Unfortunately, in 2022, Acres Homes is considered a USDA food desert community. Using the food desert locator developed by the USDA Economic Research Service, a food desert census tract is defined by a low-income tract where a substantial number or substantial share of residents do not have easy access to a supermarket or large grocery store. In Houston alone, over 500,000 or 500,000 Houstonians live in food deserts with little to no access to healthy food, and the problem has worsened due to COVID-19. When looking at Acres Homes, we immediately searched the first grocery stores from Bethune Academy. There were none, only food marts or small convenience stores that did not sell a complete list of groceries. So we started searching and chose 3. Joe V's, which is located from a 6-minute drive and 2.1 miles away from Bethune Academy. And then we looked to the left and saw that there's a Food Town, a Foodorama, and we chose Foodorama, which is a 3-minute drive and 1.5 miles away. For our third and final grocery store, we chose Whole Foods Market 365. This is located outside of the neighborhood and is a store that prides itself on having quality customer experience and produce. We wanted to show what it's like to have to seek organic out in Acres Homes. We also chose this location because it is located in Independence Heights, another historic African-American community of Houston, with some of the first deeds being recorded in 1908.
We're headed to Whole Foods.
So this is Whole Foods lineup. The distance was 6 miles. Rideshare cost between $13 and $14 one way. The bus would take 46 minutes and driving 15 minutes.
Pretty good. Pretty good to me.
So get 1 pack of strawberries.
We only want one thing. I'm freaking out.
And these are $3. So the non-organics are $3, while the organic ones are $5.99. And I think we should go with organic.
We should, because that's part of the Dirty Dozen. So they say we can't record in Whole Foods, so we'll check back after we get everything.
All right.
The experience was great. We're going to see how the experience is at other grocery stores and the quality of foods. For the amount that we spent and what we have, I think we have some good food to last us about a week. Get a couple meals on.
So our next trip for the next day was to Joe B's Smart Shop Meat Produce and Groceries. So the stats for Joe B's are 2.1 miles from Bethune Academy. Rideshare costs between $8 and $10. Bus 28 minutes, which included a 17-minute walk and a 6-minute drive. So we did a lot of back and forth looking for the best options: cage-free, organic, all natural, or no hormone claims. So we found the best and or perceived best. So I think he ended up finding cage-free. And by no means did we not get something on our list because it wasn't organic. We did have to choose a lot of not organic options. If it was no organic option, then we chose the best cost for the ounce or weight.
They got almond butter.
Okay.
No sugar added.
Nice.
It's the only alternative, almond butter.
Okay.
These are our only options for. Yeah.
Definitely no organic. Okay. Gluten-free is the best option we have on this.
Okay.
Ounces.
387.
That's actually the best price, $387. That's what we paid for the 6 ounce. At each store, we did get snack. So if you're anything like us, getting a snack is essential to leaving the grocery store. Sushi was the only ready-made option that they had available. They had some waters, some really nice lemonades, and there was no place for us to sit and eat, so we just sat at the truck bed. So the last place we visited was Foodorama, which was 1.6 miles away from Bethune Academy. Rideshare would cost $7 and $8 one way. The bus was 21 minutes, which included a 14-minute walk to the bus stop, and driving was 3 minutes. Let's see the expiration date. So they do have an organic option. It's $5.88. Just like the other place, they still have an expiration date. There is no, I don't see an organic option. Yeah, but there is a Texas option. So this is the Texas option. Now, farmers, we know that produce doesn't have to look beautiful and or perfect, but it doesn't look as appealing as you would think about.
Okay. Let's see these strawberries.
There isn't an organic option for strawberries, but they're pretty cheap. They're $1.98 each. These are the avocados. They're $1.29 each. And they're all
Ready to.
ready.
Yeah, they're all extremely soft.
Some are softer than anyone would like.
And so we're gonna have to look through and find some good bell peppers. Bell peppers. So they only have tilapia fillet, sway, catfish, gumbo crabs, shrimp, a raw shrimp, not a salmon option. A fresh salmon option. These are catfish nuggets. This one because it expires the latest at May 16th and it is a non-milk product. So in this store we had to choose between expiration dates and best options. Our organic options were very small, so then we had to go with best price and expiration date. They had lots of pasta sauce though. No added sugar. Is there an organic? No added preservatives, non-GMO. Roasted garlic. Alright. Looks like this is our winner. Unfrozen salmon. So we got checked out, and this was the last store of the grocery run. We were able to get some ready-made foods, which their option was only sausage, brisk, and some ripe mangoes.
How's the mango?
It's sweet. It's just right. Extremely right. It's great.
Eat today. So we've completed the grocery run. We visited 3 grocery stores in Acres Homes, 1 outside of Acres Homes. We visited Foodorama, Joe V's, and Whole Foods 365. So now we're gonna rate them overall on 3 categories, 0 to 10, 10 being the absolute best, 0 being the absolute worst. So our first one we're gonna go through is Whole Foods 365. So Ashton, what do you rate it 0 to 10 on customer/community engagement?
Definitely a 10. I love the experience of it. All the people were friendly. Only thing they told us that we couldn't record, but I appreciated that they came to us very politely and asked that we do not record versus come in with malicious intent, like that's been seen in a lot of YouTube videos. So that was nice. Yeah.
I give them a 9, only because we couldn't record, but other than that, it was really perfect. I really liked how they had the Independence Heights photograph. It is on the side of their building. It's really beautiful. It was very fresh. It was clean in there. They had it separated very nicely. And the staff were really nice and they cleaned everything. They also gave out free masks. So I really enjoyed that.
Had hand sanitizer everywhere.
Yeah, hand sanitizer everywhere. And they had a lot of options just throughout the store. So the next one, how would you rate Foodorama on customer experience and quality?
Maybe like a 4.
Well, customer/community engagement, I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe like a 6.
Okay.
I say 6 for community engagement because it was a lot of people that was from the community that was in there, and they were always having dialogue with other people, so you can tell like they were regulars and everybody kind of knew everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the only really kind of good thing I had to say about Foodorama.
Okay, so you gave it a 6. I give it I guess I could give it like a 5, 6-ish at the same time too, because one, they, like you said, they had a lot of culturally relevant things in there. It may not have been the top quality, but if you were making cultural dishes, they had a lot of different options on that part. They also, the ladies were actually really nice checking out. They were really sweet. It looked like the lady was her first time, like it was her, she was new, and they were helping each other out, so that was really nice. And they said have a good day at the end, so that was good. So yes. So what about Joe V's on customer experience, community engagement?
Customer experience, it was a lot going on in Joe V's. It was extremely packed. We had to bag our own groceries. I did not like that.
Yeah.
We barely could find a cart. We had to go back outside to find a cart. There was no hand sanitizer anywhere. They wasn't giving out any masks.
Yeah.
But I would say that the food that they had was appropriate for the area.
Okay.
The options.
So that is definitely a thing. They did have culturally relevant product of all different types. Yeah, so I give them, I would say, if I gave Foodorama 5, Joe V's would have to be a 7.
Yeah,
I would say a 7 overall. It wasn't like the cleanest. It didn't make me feel like I needed to stay in there, but I did feel comfortable eating the food out of the store. Mm-hmm. It was very packed, but that also shows that the community really likes the place. They can go in and out, and I would say it's community based in the fact that it is there. They have quite a bit amount of food. But yeah, like the shopping carts were like with that outside, and just they had like the do not cross signs attached to baskets, and some of the baskets were broken and had boots on them. But there was an influx of people coming in and out. So,
Also, everybody in there kind of knew each other too. There's a lot of people having a conversation.
Yeah, and also they had the stores on the side. Usually, how they have nail shops or like things inside of the grocery store. They had like cash checking, jewelry, backpacks. They had all kinds of different kind of pop-up kind of spaces that were neighborhood centered versus something that would not be neighborhood centered. So now we move on to food quality. So food quality let's start with Foodorama. Food quality 0 out of 10.
3.
3.
I didn't like the food quality at Foodorama, especially the meat section. Some of the meat was already browning and was very old. The beef coloration was very pale.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Seafood options were slim.
They only, so I'll give them a 2.5, 3. I agree with that. They did not have any fresh salmon. They only had catfish and sway and tilapia. The avocados were kind of mushed already in comparison. The apples were huge. They did not have any organic options for the produce. They barely had any organic options for anything else. They did have the milk alternative, and they did have the Gouda. No, did they have the Gouda? They did have Gouda. They did have Gouda, but it wasn't organic. And the reason why we chose the items that we chose were things that if you wanted to start a healthier lifestyle or live a healthier everyday lifestyle, we wanted to find produce that would serve and fit the lifestyle that you would want or seeking to have. So that's why we chose spaghetti, salmon and rice, a easy breakfast, and your general milk, butter, cheese, eggs, and basics. So 3.5 to 4, 2.5 to 3, I think. Yeah, no, it was pretty. Yeah, and in some places it didn't smell good when you came in as well.
It didn't.
So yeah. What else? So what about Joe V's on food quality? 0 out of 10.
7.
7.
Solid 7.
Honestly, I would give them an 8. Only reason I'll give them an 8. They weren't bad. They didn't have that many organic options, but the food that they did have didn't look gross.
Only reason I said 7 was because they didn't have organic options, and for that to be an H-E-B brand store, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But they did have organic options outside of produce.
Oh, outside of produce. And I give them, actually, I'm going to have to go down. I said 8, or did I say 7?
You said 8.
8. So I'm going to go down to 7, only because, like, the pasta sauce, they didn't have very many options. It was like you only had 2 or 3 brands in general, but they were higher quality brands, but you only had 2 or 3 brands in general. So when we do our comparison of all of the prices of what we got and if the bang for the buck, we're going to talk through that, because like at Foodorama, that pasta sauce was like $6 for an organic option, which they didn't have at Joe V's, which they had in abundance at Whole Foods. So it's just all of those random little things. So then now we move on to Whole Foods food quality.
10.
10?
10 out of 10.
If we're using it as our stellar star, I would give it, yes. I would give it a 10. They had all the options, tasted great. Mm-hmm. They had ready to make foods that were already ready to eat.
And it looked
they were tasty. Yeah, it was tasty. So yeah, Foodorama only had that sausage that was ready to go,
pork and beef sausage. So if someone didn't eat pork or beef and there was no turkey option or another form of sausage that was available.
Yeah, and that was only sausage. There was no rotisserie chicken ready to eat.
The pre-sliced fruit was very ripe.
It was on his last leg.
And the pack of strawberries was which I typically would get. It was very wet and moist, like a bottom liquid that was, I guess, been sitting there
for a while. Okay. And then for Whole Foods, we were able to get a sandwich, sushi. We got like a protein bar and a snack. Mm-hmm. And drinks. We got our ready, like drinks. And we were to sit somewhere to eat it. All other places we had to either sit in the trunk or eat in the car as our version of enjoying the space. So that also goes into customer experience. Yeah. The Whole Foods, you're able to wait. And if you live in Acres Homes and you want to go to Whole Foods and you're Ubering or using another form of transportation, there's a waiting area for you. So I thought that was very community oriented. You can go to the grocery store, enjoy a snack, and then head on home. You don't have to immediately rush home, or if you're waiting for traffic to die down. Mm-hmm. There's so many different options. What else? I wonder if they had Wi-Fi.
They did have Wi-Fi.
And they would have had Wi-Fi at Whole Foods. So yes, the last one is overall bang for your buck. So overall budget bang for your buck. So our budget was $200 for each grocery store to get the best items that we chose or use our best judgment when they didn't have the item that we were looking for. So our budget of $200 got us all of these things, which we're going to put the list. So overall, our cheapest or our budget-friendly place is Joe V's. We spent the least amount of money at $109 compared to Whole Foods, which was in $180. And Foodorama was in the middle. I would say that because, honestly, Whole Foods could have been our budget-friendly one, but we went with the higher options of everything. But Joe V's, Joe V's is honestly honestly the best. We got everything for almost under $100 if we didn't get the snacks.
Definitely. But I would say the trade-off for Whole Foods is having those options versus just being given 2 or 3 options to choose from. You can kind of manipulate and pick what you want. Yeah.
And Whole Foods 365, which is a really great option as well. And then if you're an Amazon Prime member, you're able to use your Amazon Prime to get discounts. There were no other discount options at any other stores unless it was like buy 2 get 7 or buy 2 for 7, those kinds of things. So at Whole Foods, you're able to use your Amazon Prime discount, and so you're able to double those up. So with $200, if I counted it in $13 a piece per ride, and so I'd say that's $40, not $40. Say math. $30 max. If you wanted to add $30 to your food budget and had $170, I would definitely take myself to Whole Foods 365.
I agree.
Joe V's, they didn't, even though It was good. We got the salmon, which was big for a family, if you're cooking for a family.
They had a lot of family
they
packaging.
had big bulky packaging, almost as like a wholesale kind of feel to it. So yeah.
Very warehouse, Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Costco.
And that's the way it's in and out. The lines were long though. So overall, what do you think? I mean, since you live in a food desert community as well, what do you overall think is the misconceptions about food deserts, or what people don't understand?
I would say that people don't realize that we want more options. One thing I noticed was with Foodorama and Joe V's, how everything was culturally targeted. And especially in Foodorama, there wasn't any organic cereal options. It was like your typical Kellogg's, and some people don't want that. People want to do better and eat healthier, and they can only do that with those options. So I think that's the biggest thing versus having a Joe V's like in Sunnyside or a Whole Foods. Like, I'm never going to be able to do better if I don't have that option to do so.
Exactly. I definitely understand that. I think what people don't understand about living in food desert communities is that we have to eat. Like, I think when major corporations, or just in general, when they're choosing to put grocery stores in different areas, they look at our socioeconomic status in order to decide whether the grocery store is going to be a good business decision. But as you can tell by having stores like Joe V's, where it is packed in and out, and it's not because of the prices, but because that is the best option in the area. Even Whole Foods, even though Whole Foods wasn't packed, it's the next best option for a lot of places. When we look at the map, you have Independence Heights, Acres Homes, and then all the other new places that they're putting. But it's the next best option, and so you have to travel to go. And then they're getting all of the customers that are in the Heights, in Independence Heights and Acres Homes, so it boosts their sales.
Definitely.
Because people are coming down to eat better versus like giving an option midway or just having something in the neighborhood. I think overall it's just like, hey, people want to do better, and they can't do better if they don't have the option or the accessibility to do better. And so what else did you learn through this experience?
I learned the real difference of grocery store shopping in certain areas, and based on the areas that we were in, you can literally see the difference of the environment. And that's based on Whole Foods. Everything's kind of well kept. It's still reminiscent of what we knew it was, but it looks it's a cleaner area. You go to Foodorama and it looks like it's not really cared for, and Joe V's is like straight off the highway, so it's like the first thing you see, and a lot of it wasn't clean or as well kept as Whole Foods, and that's just based on it being in the area that it was, and the people that are in the area.
I also can blame that on traffic. So if you're having so many people come in and out, it's hard to keep an area clean with staffing. So I don't want to think that they purposely are like wasn't clean. I do think that because it's used so frequently that it's hard to keep.
So is that a brand priority thing? I think it's a brand priority thing.
I think it could be brand priority, but it also is a sentiment to the fact of how much it's actually being used. The grocery store is actually needed in a space like that. If there were two Joe V's in the same across the street, like sometimes they do like two Banks or two Chick-fil-A's across the street, they're still packed, But I guess I want to use that as a sentiment to say that grocery stores are needed in food desert communities, and because there's only so many options, they're going to be high trafficked as a high touch point. I think what I learned, and it's something that I've already existed in and realized, and that's really why I started the farm, was coming from a food oasis like Pearland or the Heights or Bel Air or Galleria area, where you're in a food oasis where you have so many different food options. When you're in an area and you see it and buying the same things, I'm glad that we can kind of like just see the social proof, see what actually is happening, and look at it look at it in that way and actually give proof. But I think this just highlighted what we already knew about our neighborhoods. I didn't know that Whole Foods was that nice in comparison. When you really look at it that way versus just shopping. But when you're really trying to break it down and really look at it from that aspect, it's really shocking. Overall, having to leave your neighborhood to access a quality experience and high quality produce is not ideal. But when you live in a food desert community, this is the reality. We will have the links to our spreadsheets, the USDA resource, as well as some of the publications about food desert communities and the quality of produce inside of the neighborhoods. Overall, I hope that you've learned something through this project and had fun. Combating food insecurity in food desert communities is a very hard task. Acres Homes and the Communities for Better Health have been working hard on this task for the last few years to get Acres Homes a farmer's market and garden. So I encourage you to come visit at the Bethune Academy. Ashton and I work in Sunnyside, Houston, Texas, which is in South Houston, another food desert. And you can visit us at ivyleaffarms.com and follow us on Instagram at ivyleaffarms.